Glen Brittner was the kind-hearted and gentle spirit whose home had gotten out of control in Hoarders Season 3. Viewers wanted a happy ending for him, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. After losing his wife unexpectedly to a heart attack years prior, Glen became engulfed in his grief and didn't know where to turn. He found comfort in his 3 pet rats, but their companionship quickly grew when he found himself living with over 1,000 rats in his house. Hoarders on AE takes a real look into the lives of people with compulsive hoarding, from sentimental objects to legitimate trash. Typically, every person sharing their story had a triggering event that propelled their obsession to spiral out of control. This was the case for Glen, as his wife's death was the traumatic incident that set everything into motion for him on Hoarders. What happened to Glen Brittner? Glen's story was featured on Hoarders in 2011, and it looked like life was headed in a positive direction for him after he received help from the crew to get the rats removed and his home cleaned up. Unfortunately, Glen's life was tragically cut short after a home invasion in August 2015. Since his appearance on Hoarders, Glen used a wheelchair for mobility and was helpless against his attackers. According to the Los Angeles Times, one of Glen's employees found him in his home with his hands and feet zip-tied and severe blunt trauma to his head. Sadly, after spending 10 days in a coma, he passed away. Glen's case is still unsolved, and the killers have yet to be brought to justice. Who was Glen Brittner? Glen was a 54-year-old that owned a local water business and lived in Los Angeles, California. His appearance on the AE show Hoarders was different from the rest because he didn't have an obsession with collecting particular items or finding himself unable to part with meaningless objects. Glen's story was quite different. He was open to accepting help from the crew and only wanted the best life for all of his rats. Since becoming a widower, he didn't know how to cope with the loss, and he found a purpose in caring for the out-of-control rats overtaking every square inch of his home. Unfortunately, there still haven't been any solid leads on Glen's murder in 2023. His family continues to seek closure and answers to who committed such a heartless crime. His compassionate nature and loving personality were clear to see on Hoarders, and it's the reason he touched the hearts of viewers. Source: Los Angeles Times.
Love in the modern world is fake when love was meant for joy too. When I find you, I realize that somehow we lie. Love in the modern world, it is fake when love was meant for joy. I know that he hurt you. Your 5 inches of heart is human. Can you be sure? No.